Okay, in this lesson, we're going to use Sketchpad to create um, an illustrated piece of text. And it's going to be a word or a quote that you choose to use that will represent or illustrate today's inauguration. Okay? So we're going to use Sketchpad 5.1 to do this. So you're just going to simply type that in to your Chrome browser, and you're going to see that result come up. And when you click on it, it's going to open up Sketchpad. So this is something I had from yesterday's class, so let me get rid of that. So remember, when you use Sketchpad, you have all the tools in the upper left-hand corner, and that move tool, that arrow tool, is a selection tool. It's an important one to move things around, to resize things, and to delete things, okay? And you'll see what I mean in a minute about that. Down here, it's set as the crayon as the drawing tool right now, and that can be changed to a number of different tools. This is a shape tool, and it has some basic shapes that you can use. This is the clip art tool, where you can choose your own images, or you can choose ones that Sketchpad has already in there, lots of clip art. But for right now, we're going to look at the type tool. So I'm turning on the type tool, I'm activating the tool by clicking on this T, and when I do that, you can see a whole lot of selections, different attributes, things I can do to customize my text. So, text is something you use all the time in school. When you write your papers, you're usually using a very readable, or you might say legible, font, something that people can see. When you create a poster, when you have like a greeting card or whatever, you have more flexibility in the font that you choose. It can be more decorative. Okay, so for instance, right now, if I click this T tool and I come over and I click the empty piece of paper, it's going to start me off with some blank text to fill in, a little template here. So when I type something in here, like if I just type in the word historic, for example, it is in a particular font, all right? So when I select this and I go back over to my text tool, I can see up here, this is something called Source Sans Pro, very basic, kind of blah. It's not doing anything for me right now. I can read it, looks good, very legible, very readable. When I click that little arrow, I can choose a lot of different fonts. So as you look at these, you can see that they were meant for really different messages. They evoke some kind of feeling, or they are meant to give the reader an idea of what this text is about. You certainly wouldn't use something like Cabin Sketch to write an entire paper. If you have a social studies paper due, an essay for ELA, whatever it is, you're not going to write the whole thing in Cabin Sketch because it would be really hard to read. But if you just wanted to have a headline, and let's say for the word historic, you might say, that says what I want it to convey. That helps people understand what this is going to be about. So that's what I want you to think about when you're picking your typeface or your font style for this lesson. Okay? And it really can be a fun exercise, and it is an exercise in your creative ability, your artistic thinking, as I go through these different font styles. Okay? So make it relate to the quote or the word that you pick for this. All right? So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to leave it at Arizona right now, and I've chosen a word historic. You might choose any word that strikes you after you watch the events of today. Would you think about, something like Kamala, because she is the first black woman um, vice president. She's first woman vice president, or any woman to hold that high office. So after hearing her speak or seeing her and having an idea, that might be something you want to make as your commemoration of this day. You might also do a Google search, and I'm going to put a link in the assignment to inaugural quotes, things that presidents have already said. And you might find something that you like there, or you need to, pay close attention to what's going on in the event, or look back, online and find some things from, Joe Biden's speech and pull something out of there. If Kamala Harris is speaking, then pull something out of maybe what she has said, or any other feeling that you have gotten from what has gone on in the day. Okay? So once you have your quote or you have your word, you're going to go through the process of creating an illustration using text. So just to kind of get us started, I'm going to start over again. I'm going to go ahead and delete this whole thing. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to go down to the type tool, come over to your paper. You're going to type in your quote, or you're going to type in the word that you have chosen. So again, let me do, I'm just going to say Joe, all right? Because he's come to be known as just his first name. And as I say, this is what you feel, what you get out of the moment. All right, so I'm going to click that type tool to bring up all those choices again. And let's say I find something that I feel like represents the message the best. So I kind of like this because it's kind of plain. It's kind of a plain name. He's kind of a plain speaking guy. So I have Joe, but I want to make this bigger. So I can simply use the selection tool, the handles, and let's fill the page with your word or your quote. So you don't want to have something small and tiny. I want to make it big. Okay? So what can I do besides just having the word? Well, I can change the way it appears on the page. Centered a lot of time is good, but if you have a big quote, you might want to change this to the left aligned or to the right aligned. I'm going to do center right now. I can make this bold. I can also change the line width. If you notice, I have fill, and my fill right now is black, and I also have an outline that I can put around my text, and right now it is red. I can change that to different colors. I can also change it to a pattern. That can be, all that effective depending on the line width that you choose. You can use this to enhance your illustration. So you can say something about the words with the actual outline that you use. And it's going to be a little more subtle than inside the words because you don't have all that much room here. But you could use pattern. You could just keep it as basic color. You might want to think, I'm going to be patriotic, and I'm going to make the outline red, and I'm going to, come up here to fill, and I could make that blue. So I have a really simple thing going on here, but I kind of feel like it is effective. It's red, white, and blue, and it has the president's name, and it's kind of saying, the familiar, idea. It's not Joseph, it's Joe, and very simple. I could be done. Okay? So that's the idea. You want to make it big. You want to have something that strikes you. Okay? This is about your reaction to it in one word, or you can look up a quote, or you can grab a quote, or whatever reaction you have of the day, and you're going to use the type tool in Sketchpad to illustrate that word. So if I didn't want to use the solids, if I wanted to go in here and I want to fill this with a pattern, I do have a number of patterns in here to choose from. Whether any of them are going to suit your needs, I'm not sure. And I was looking for a way to put your own pattern inside the letters, but as of yet, I have not seen anything like that. So you also have a gradient tool that you can utilize. You can also space your letters out if you wanted to do that. So be creative with that. Now something like that, it's still kind of, you see what the word is, but it's more of a graphic design right now. And then I just have the plain colors as well. Okay, so that's it. Message me, in the assignment with any questions you have about this.